hallucinogenics being illegal or legal, because I don't think that there's as big an addiction problem with that.
Hmm.
I don't know from your experience, Apex. I don't know.
Definitely not. Not from my experience, because like I said, it's been 10 years, maybe 15 years. I did them for a short time, semi-regularly as a form of therapy, because I don't trust other people. Probably should have just gone to therapy, but I've done most of it myself with the help of these mystical teachers,
So that's
and
yeah,
I'm not perfect.
no, 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 no. That's amazing. Hey, it worked. It worked. It worked. So that's your story, and it's beneficial to people. But
Oh, I
when
hope
I
so.
go into the when I now that the reason why I brought up the movie last night, Phil Harmon, not Phil Harmon, shit. Anyway, one of these guys, but I he's the
Well,
guy that
You
used to,
said Well, it was Daryl Hammond, right?
yeah, Daryl Hammond.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I saw it too. It was on. I think it was on Netflix, right?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
amazing
that
because
was a pretty good one. It's a pretty good
he
one.
was
Yeah.
always now this is basically what I see from all my experience. I'm pretty much an expert in it, and also since I go into the prisons, and I've been on the front lines for all these years helping girls, in the trenches. My story was pretty easy. I was kind of blessed. Like God did a good job on me, and gave it to me pretty easy, but not as a child. I have some horrendous hellacious abuse, and it's taken all these years for me to come out of denial. And like I appreciate what you said, that you don't go for the victim thing, but with that movie Cracked Up, so if somebody rapes me or if somebody molests me as a 6-month-old child, I do not need to own that. I don't need to take responsibility for that. There's nothing that I did to cause that. But that traumatizes me for the rest of my life. It's almost a scar that doesn't ever get healed. And what
Ooh.
it goes back to, it does go to the childhood. Whether you had an intermediate bad childhood or you just got spanked a couple times, everybody interacts differently with abuse, and abuse is different levels. And I think that most people, I only can talk about the people that come to AA or NA because that's who I deal with. But by the time they get there, they're usually there, or they've usually become addicted because they're at some time in their life, they're in and this is like the education of what addiction is. They're in so much pain that they need something to take them out of the pain. Because it's the pain of pushing it down and pushing it down and pushing it down. So the abuse isn't really what gets you, but the hiding it and the denying it and the pushing it down and trying to keep it underneath, keep a lid on it, that's what.
I actually, I was horrified when you started talking there because I'm like, no, I was not talking about actual victims of actual like horrible.
Hey folks, for those of you watching on the live stream here real quick, welcome to the second hour of the show, by the way. And yes, you did get to watch me open my beer bottle. I'm about ready to join Apex Gamma and the Versameda crew for, I guess, a conversation on the drug war tonight and the war on drugs. So let me switch my uh, input for Discord so that you guys will be able to hear the audio, and then I will come on. Then I will just jump in. So yeah, and I will also link to Versamedia's channel as well. So hold on a sec. Let's see, voice and video. Okay, output device, multi-output device. Okay, so you guys will be able to hear Discord. Sorry for those of you who didn't know what you were listening to before. I know that must have been confusing for some of you watching the live broadcast, but like I said, I'm jumping in with Versamedia right now. And yeah, so anyway, here is Versamedia's channel link. I'll post that in the chat, and I am going to jump in now. So
Given to me by doctors.
So,
Yeah,
see,
that's a
that
whole
pisses
nother
me off.
area. Is the whole like specifically with opioids is the legal drug addiction
Mhm.
that's
That's where it
crippling the
started.
nation.
And they
I
call
had,
it accidental overdose. There's no accident. The doctor has become the pusher because of the entire infrastructure of the system of that. You can't pay somebody's insurance to see the doctor unless they have a medical necessity. And the only way that they could prove medical necessity is if they give you a medication. That's how they prove you're sick. And that's how insurance will pay. So it's an endless spiral to get somebody addicted. And then the doctors make so much money off that prescription pad. That's what
Yep.
angers
lot of
me
money.
more
You-
than street drugs.
You know what's going to
Yep.
help, though? You know what's going to help with that whole situation?
decriminalization.
No. Even better. I got an even better solution. You ready for it?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Celebrities giving a black and white presentation on Twitter, a PSA on Twitter. That'll solve literally everything.
That will stop it overnight.
Everything. I mean, you see them left and right. Look, hey, you see these actors. They're taking responsibility. It's amazing stuff.
And who was the mother of that? Nancy Reagan. Just say no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. Here's my thing with the drug issue too, especially with psychedelics and stuff. Is there's so much misinformation out there. It's really hard to find the true information about this. Because I know too earlier you said that it could last 2 days with an LSD trip. Because that's unless you're taking some sort of insanely high dose, it shouldn't
That
last.
was my experience.
Okay, that it shouldn't
Yeah.
last more than 8 hours because I have a friend who's taken LSD multiple times and it does not last usually longer than 8 hours or so.
Yeah. Now I will speak to the fact that the effect, psychologically and emotionally, can last up to a week. They've affected me really positively. In a real way for several days afterwards, but the actual effects of it, the drug itself, 8 hours, maybe 10, if I've taken a bunch, or I took a bunch rather.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that too. The actual seeing stuff, the physical weakness, the mind fuck that you go through, that will only last maybe 8 hours, 10 hours, and even that comes in waves too. So that to say it'll last for multiple days, sure, the realizations that you have, that can last for the rest of your life, but that's more of meditation.
Yeah.
If you meditate, you can, you kind of learn about yourself. You have these questions, these sort of philosophical internal dialogues going on. And that's sort of the good thing. You're dealing with problems that you might, it's kind of like meditation, but instead of that sort of discipline, because not everyone has that discipline or they might not have the time to go and dedicate to meditating every day, and they might have this breakthrough after a few months. Because I used to meditate too, and I never really got to that high of a level that my good friend describes.
Psychedelics, they're not. Oh, sorry. Psychedelics, they're not. They're not addictive. There's no tolerance. So it's not physically or mentally addictive.
No, in fact, it's not. It becomes much less fun the more you do it. They don't work. You don't. It's not fun. It's they're actually, most of them are the perfect drug, in that sense for me. Again, it's been years since I've even considered it, but now I'm fondly reminiscing. I'm just kidding, but no, back when I first started, the first psychedelic I ever did was mushrooms, and I took a relatively low amount or small amount, and I was with good friends, and I didn't know where they came from, so whatever. But they're mushrooms. It's not hard to tell that it's a mushroom that you're eating, albeit dry and disgusting. But that first time actually was really scary. It wasn't what I would call a bad trip, but it was the first time that I was like, oh, okay, it's like that I need to figure out. And that summer, I took mushrooms, about the same amount, almost every week. And a couple of times I tried days in a row, and that's when I found out that I don't like taking psychedelics that much, because it defeated the purpose for me. And the profoundness of my introspection, which is what it's all about in my perspective. It's all about inward. It's yeah, cool shit happens outside of you if you look around at the walls, whatever, but close your eyes. That's where the things happen. And for me anyway.
Yeah, I had a lovely, also very similar. My first experience on mushrooms, my first and only, was lovely. I was with somebody that I loved and I trusted, and we went on a trip to Mexico, and it was just amazing. So I've had two experiences, one with acid and one with mushrooms, but this conversation really isn't like this serious addiction. This isn't about that.
No, and that was the point that I was trying to make. Is I don't think that drugs should be illegal. I think that people should work harder at teaching people younger better values. Period.
So
that's my dream world. Yeah.
So I have a question. This is a really serious question for me, because this is kind of like the context for you other guys too. This is the context of reality, and the reality is what the CIA and what through the years what the government has done to the inner cities because of their agenda of flooding the inner cities with cocaine, or flooding the inner cities with crack, or flooding the inner cities with heroin, and destroying generations. That's a huge problem that I have.
Well, I think everybody on the panel would agree that's a problem, but I mean, am I wrong?
Yeah, no, I don't think like what the government did with the what was that, the Iran Contra thing, where they're smuggling cocaine to the cities to go and basically fund clandestine operations. Like, yeah, that was wrong. I don't think very many people will say, "Oh, that was a great government policy. Thank you, Reagan." No, but I don't. Now, to a certain extent, there is individual responsibility. No one, for the most part, no one's putting a gun up to your head and saying, "Hey, smoke this pipe." Some people, maybe that happens, but there is a certain element of personal responsibility in it. However, in that instance, that was wrong. We shouldn't be having an agenda to go and like flood the cities with any drugs, which is why I think that what China's doing with the synthetic opiates, fentanyl, carfentanil, that is wrong. That is an act of almost like a sort of war, like because we did that too to China. I think this is revenge for the opium wars.
But it's the same thing. Yeah, it's happening right now. It's the same thing, and everything's laced with fentanyl. Fentanyl is a killer. It's worse than
fentanyl.
weed.
Listen, fentanyl killed my little brother less than a year ago. So no, it's fine. He was actually under. He was in jail. He was in work release, and he died of fucking fentanyl overdose.
Yeah. It's taken a lot. It's taken a lot of people. It took Prince.
Dude, it's taken
Prince. That's what I'm talking about. And when you say nobody forces you to do this, that's absolutely not true, because usually most people start drugs between 13 and 15, and it was usually given to somebody by someone they trust, an older sibling, a parent, an uncle, somebody that was going to molest them. I mean, usually, yes, they almost were.
Yeah, doctor. Yeah, especially a doctor. Like if you're going like if you're getting a surgery or something like that, they're going to you got these asshole doctors feeding you these pills, like, here, you don't want to get in pain, here, take this shit, and before you know it, they're fucking hooked.
No, I've been hit by a car recently. I had the option if I wanted to go and take opiates. I refused that.
But if you're young, you're gonna do what the doctor tells you to do more.
Even
like
if
you're kind of look, like Alex, you're kind of smart. Like you're kind of smart. Okay, And by kinda, I mean really fucking smart. But like, but I'm
I was gonna
saying,
say there.
yeah, yeah, I had to throw that joke in there. But no, like the 13-year-old's not gonna fucking differentiate.
Well, what
He's
about
gonna be like,
yeah?
he's gonna look at the doctor and be like, "What do you think I should do?" And of course, that fucking crooked ass doctor's gonna be like, "Hey, take these fucking pills."
Well, no, no,
And then
Guys,
you know what happens?
guys,
And then they have, and then they get addicted, and they come out, and they no longer have their prescription, and so they got to find heroin on the street. And this is exactly
ding,
how
ding,
the
ding.
60,000 people that died last year from opiates. This is why they did it. Usually because of a doctor or because of their older brother got them started, and then they've got some fentanyl in there, and it's over.
We don't punish people anywhere close to we don't punish those fuckers anywhere close to hard. Like that's ultimately that's the problem. Like you have these people that are doing all this shit and they get these really light fucking sentences. And it's like you had that one chick that was running a fucking pill mill in Louisiana, and she didn't even all she did was lose her license or whatever. Like they didn't fucking, it was a or maybe maybe a couple years in prison, I think, but like nothing. It was like fucking nothing. No, if Dictator Phil was in charge, these fuckers would be executed.
A lot of people are making money from the whole chain of command.
And I agree with that. With the doctors, they need to be held accountable for that. Was with the crack epidemic. I imagine most people, that sure there was some people who were like forced into it as a kid, but that's not everyone either. Like I know a lot of people in college got cocaine addictions like fully on their own free will.
What you guys what nobody mentioned and what I wanted to touch on, and again, this is from my just from my perspective and my story, is when you're 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, you don't really have much of well, maybe not 16, 17, but when you're younger and the doctor, he's not talking to you. He's talking to your parent, your mother or your father, who are also uneducated. This goes back to what I was saying, that people are uneducated. They're not educated on the right things. And that is I believe, mostly an act of subversion on various levels that I can't define, specifically, but I see it all the time. The older I get, but yeah. So you hook a kid early. Actually, better yet, you convince their parent that you in your lab coat has got all the answers, and you feed them Adderall and fucking opiates and Ritalin.
At 5 years old, and you create an addict. Correct.
Hold up, because Apex made a really good point about that. So a few things. First off, I have to disclaim that we are multi-streaming on the Whitfield Reports YouTube channel.
Oh shit! What's up? What's up, Whitfield Report gang?
Number two.
What's up, Gammas?
Number two, I have to disclaim that I'm also. It's amusing that we're talking about drugs because I'm in the midst of drinking a beer, a Corona. Well,
that's not beer. Whatever. That's a Corona. That's not beer.
Corona?
That's not beer.
Yeah,
we already agreed that beer wasn't in the drug discussion anyway, Sammy.
That's like Kool-Aid.
But
you need to up it up.
How much they've been advertising during this fucking pandemic? That is one of the most slick but awful advertisements ever.
I love it. I'm in branding and advertising, and I think it's brilliant.
I'm an ad major, so.
But also, it's interesting that you guys bring up the Ritalin thing because I have a very interesting story. When I was 5 years old, and going into kindergarten, my mom went in to meet with I guess like a few of the prospective kindergarten teachers and some of the school administrators because with me being in a wheelchair I needed some assistance, and so they basically I had what's called an IEP, like an individualized education plan. And long story short, the school psychologist at the time, this was like back in 1999 or 2000, can't remember which, but the school psychologist back then wanted to put me on Ritalin, and without meeting me face to face, without doing any like tests on me, based on the fact that according to like the preschool teachers or whatever, I guess I wasn't paying attention to in like math or whatever back then. Uh, so they wanted to put me on Ritalin, and my mother's reaction was basically she said, "If you even suggest that my son get put on Ritalin again, if you even mention it, I will sue this school district's ass into the ground. You are
I
not.
love your mother.
You are not putting my.
Yeah,
You are not putting my son on any drugs."
yeah,
With
your success story, man. Fuck it.
so, you know.
I mean, she did fuck up. She did fuck up with having you drink Corona. I mean, that's terrible. Like, who does that?
Well,
Jesus.
well, I mean,
He is beyond her
You're not gonna
control
let him
now.
go on that one, are you?
well, I,
Oh
You know
my
what,
God.
my
I mean,
mom-
Corona. Ugh.
My
That man
mom
has-
told me.
What,
My
were
mom
you all
told
out
me-
of Kool-Aid or something? What the hell?
My mom told me only truck drivers drink beer.
I hope we're driving.
Shit, I'm drinking a fucking ice house right now, guys. Ice house.
I have
For real?
I also have Budweiser, but unfortunately, it's not in the fridge right now. So,
Budweiser's not that great either. I like that Yangling.
yeah, no,
You know what? You know what I heard that Corona is?
What?
It's recycled homeless piss. That's what it is.
Oh, so they got from
You know-
Seattle.
I thought that was Bud Light.
Probably.
They used to call that Schlitz when I was a kid. Schlitz.
The rumor when I was growing up was 1 in 4 Coronas tested positive for urine. So hey guys, on a total topic change, kind of back to before Firecracker joined. I just checked my comments on these couple of clips that I uploaded to my Owen Benjamin clip channel.
Oh, nice.
And it appears the Owen haters also really hate our president. I've never seen such spicy comments in my videos before,
What's all that?
even from the Bears.
I fucking predicted that. I've been telling people for months for years that Owen and his cult aren't actual conservatives. So.
No. Oh, Sam, you misunderstand me, Sam. I'm saying that my fans, the viewers of my channel, like the regular commenters, aside from a couple, are like fucking blah, 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 like all caps posting comments. It's like, whoa.
Well,
It's actually kind of weird to see.
Are they the type that don't think that think Trump doesn't go hard enough?
yeah.
Oh no,
probably.
they think he's like the hard left stance on, that he's just straight evil and he's inciting violence and he should. I mean, I can't quote any of them. I can't quote any of them off the top of my head.
Wait, so
Let's see.
Wait, so you have liberals who sub to your channel who love the fact that you bash on
Hey,
Owen
hey,
Benjamin.
listen, Sam. I'm not gonna call this person out, but the first two initials, the initials are A and R, and they're subscribed to both of us. This is their comments. Trump may say some pretty words, but he appears powerless. This is not really about racism. It is an excuse to perpetuate the blame game, loot, use violence, feel aggravated and entitled, and engage in hooliganism, hate. Actually, that's a good one. Never mind.
So does that mean that they're voting for Biden?
I don't know what they're voting for, but it's just weird to see because my YouTube channel. I don't like guys. I'm not like an internet guy. Like I've lurked around for years and watched random shit, but I started making videos about Owen Benjamin because I wanted to make fun of him for some reason, and I've made a bunch of really shitty ones, and I've amassed like almost 1,000 people that I actually talked to and have had conversations with. That's how I met Sam. That's how I met ultimately you guys. But it's just a weird dynamic because my channel's always been about one thing, and I knew if I ever uploaded anything else, be it like my music or anything else I wanted to clip, that it would cause some kind of rift. But
I just went hard on my stream before I joined you guys like 10 minutes ago or whenever. I played a clip of Andrew Breitbart's CPAC speech because I think it's still relevant as all get out, even for today's. But I've kind of beefing with the quote unquote America First crowd this week because they don't think Trump's going hard enough, and also one of their leaders thought it would be funny to tweet out that Black Lives Matter should burn down a Chick-fil-A. So, so that's where we're at within within the right wing kind of fighting each other. So
yeah, and I'm getting personally like really annoyed with it. Like that there's this constant infighting between now. I mean, it used to be really just between the Trump MAGA populist crowd and the establishment. But now it's a fight between the establishment, the moderate MAGA crowd, and then the hardline America First crowd.
I think
And
I think Nick Fuentes is a closeted homosexual, and he needs to just come out of the closet.
Oh, absolutely.
He could be the next Milo, dude.
Could I? Yeah,
Maybe even better.
Milo.
well,
it'd be nice.
Did you see his show with Milo? It was
I
great.
did.
Yeah.
Well, considering that the Gripers fucking attacked Sean and Alex for just being associated with Turning Point, which is kind of how I got involved with Versamedia in the first place. But
Wait, what did they say about Alex?
well, no, it was basically just you, and they didn't mention Alex specifically, but they were like, Turning Point PSU is like a bunch of homosexuals. So, and then on one of the interviews that you and I did, just the two of us, Sean, one of the gripers, I should have actually probably saved the comment, but I deleted it because of YouTube's like comment policy or whatever.
Yeah, we've been doing a few tonight.
One of the gripers said that you and I should both be thrown into an oven. And so
It's a bit cold in here, so maybe I
That
will.
sounds like something Owen Benjamin would say.
and so when Nick and his ilk are actually, Nick didn't say that, but his fans said that, and when Nick is the type of edgelord to say that, I mean, basically, I'm only like a few years older than a kid, but I feel like he needs a spanking from someone. So
He'd probably what you talk. Nick would probably enjoy the spanking because he is a closeted homosexual. So
I knew you were going to say that. What were you trying to say, Alex? I heard your thing was going out again.
Yeah, I was asking if someone's baking the pie because I keep talking about ovens over here.
yeah, he probably made pies too.
So I got a little clip of Trump saying "kung flu."
Did he
from the
say
rally earlier?
Yes.
Oh my God, he fucking said "kung flu."
Yes.
And it's awesome. I don't know where to post it.
Did you guys see him throw the he really
the water?
Oh my God, I loved it.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Trump with the water, the glass of water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Post. Benny Johnson just made a post. And it says "liberal tears."
Mm-hmm.
That's the water.
Meme material. That's what he turns out every rally.
Dude, that's exactly what he was doing. I mean, you can't give him. I can't give him enough credit.
You know what right now on my live stream, because on my live stream people can see my camera. Speaking of memes, right now I know that Alan Powell is lurking in my chat and probably just like screen capping my screen of me drinking Corona to make memes.
I can see you. I can say hi. I can see you.
So.
Well, one thing when you mentioned the Groypers and all these people, I felt like the one thing that happens, like when Nick says these like edgy tweets, and when people say these things in our comments, we always talk about it because it's hard to not look away. Like, let's be honest. But the double-edged sword to that is you give these people attention, and that's how they rise up.
Well,
And I'm not saying like we shouldn't talk about, but what I'm saying is it's kind of like with Richard Spencer. He wouldn't be given. And I'm not trying to lump him in the same camp. Everybody says that, and they are different people. But the the reason even Richard Spencer, we know who his name is because people wouldn't stop talking about him. And there's certain sort of, things that you just can't not talk about. But people deliberately like find stuff and like deliberately talk about him. And Nick is, I I I have complicated feelings on the guy because I don't know what he really believes. I've heard what people have said he really believes, and that's what concerns me. And the people he hangs out with concern me too. But he seems like somebody that does understand what he's doing. He's a talented and effective individual, but he needs some really, like, he goes too far with certain things that it can come off as not like when Milo goes like edgy and hard and provocative, that's what it is. But
it,
when Nick
it's
does, he
it's
goes
it's
too far, and it's kind of rude
I
when
and like
mean,
jerky.
when Milo does it, it's obvious it's satire, and it's I mean
Trolling.
yeah, it's obvious. When Nick does it, it's kind of like
serious and weird.
it's kind of like, is he joking or is he? So here's why I focus so much on like Nick Fuentes and also the Benjamin types, because I feel like every time I ignore them, right, I always get some normie, just
They'll
some
be like,
like,
"Why aren't you talking about X, Y, and Z?"
well, no, I always get some, so like, oh, so Nick Fuentes is Nick. They think that like they think that because like Nick Fuentes said, X, Y, or Z, that like all of conservatism now, thinks X, Y, or Z, and I always,
Yeah, yeah.
and so I'm always like,
He's
now,
got
I'm like, okay, let me explain. So it becomes like a whole thing. So I end up having to explain it either way to people. And so I'm like, I might as well just address on the show and reinforce to people publicly that I don't, I think we do have some nut jobs on our own side. So
Well, I mean, Nick Fuentes, he just looks like a guy that's like sexually repressed. Like just let a chick touch your penis or something. Like, and then if you're not into chicks, hey, let a dude touch your penis. I don't know.
Dude, as Gavin McGinnis said at the CPAC after party, he said, we have all these groypers here, and, you guys, look, you're young. Stop worrying about Israeli, like, foreign policy and start worrying about getting laid.
Yeah, I know, right? That freaking, the interaction of women touching your private parts, that is fantastic. I mean, that is just something else, and when you don't have that, I don't know I don't know, and you can kind of
I
tell.
think
But Nick
you
is
need
kind
it.
of weird. He's got that
That's
weird,
well said, Phil.
yeah, like that. He's got that weird vibe of like, yeah, nobody's touched my ding dong ever, and so
and it,
you know, get,
well,
Now here,
feel
here
better.
here's my sort of thoughts on that. Like, as much as those people do suck, they aren't the ones in power that we should be worrying about right now. You don't see like
True.
fucking, whatever, like the alt right forming like city blocks, like chops and shit. The most they'll do is like go and fucking bring tiki torches to a fucking protest. Like these people aren't the ones in power, and honestly, like the more you bring them up, the more drama you just start between them. So it just kind of feels, at least to me, like it's not even worth it. Like, if they do something notable, maybe bring something up then, but if they're just being themselves, like I don't really give a shit. The
They're
people,
kind of like a deep state Hollywood, kind of.
yeah, the people that matter are the actual communists who are in charge of the establishment, who are in charge of the, who are in charge of colleges. Those people matter because they have direct institutional power over people and they implement their message. If the alt right were in charge of college admissions or like Fortune 500 companies, then that would be a different discussion. And then, we could bring them up more. But, we're focusing on the wrong enemies here, I feel.
Well, yeah, I mean, I listen. I think that we can focus on maybe not just the wrong enemies, but like all of the enemies. But maybe that's just the Italian in me. I want to deal with all of our energy, all of our enemies. Into the people in my chat. No, I'm not going to chug this. So.
To address
Did you just say
Nathan's
you're Italian? Did you just say you're Italian, Sam?
I'm half Italian.
Oh, you're half Italian. All right, all right.
Yeah,
So
correct that.
what did you think? So what did you think, Sam? What did you think about the Christopher Columbus statues getting torn down? Because I heard Christopher Columbus is your guy. What's the deal?
Okay, so in relation to all of that stuff, I have to be completely honest and tell you guys that I was a bit depressed this week. Especially on Thursday. If any of you guys heard my Thursday Whitfield report, I was depressed because I mean, Black Lives Matter and Antifa are just running around tearing down statues, and cops are like I mean, the cops have literally gone on strike and they're not out there, and I don't know, it's kind of been building in me for a while, but on Thursday it just kind of like you know, like I wasn't even mad enough to scream. I was just kind of like, oh, I was honestly in a depressed state because I feel like America's burning down, and almost no one is doing nothing about it. So yeah, the Christopher Columbus thing pissed me off. I'll tell you what pissed me off even more was the George Washington statue.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a guy who's my guy? It's not Christopher Columbus. George Washington is my guy. And
yeah, I like how Trump he mentioned that and how they tore it down and wrapped an American flag around it and set it on fire. And he wants to. I mean, he was talking to the senators there, the Oklahoma senators or whatever, and he's like, he wants to institute or build some legislation that enacts jail time for 1 year if you burn the American flag. You can stomp it, do whatever, but if you burn it, like you desecrate, like free speech is important. I forget exactly what he said. I clipped that too. I should probably upload that.
See, I don't think he should do that at all. That to me is a big problem. That is very anti-First Amendment, which would really hurt his pro-free speech brand, because I hate anybody that burns the American flag is, in my opinion, a traitor. But you should be allowed to burn the American flag because it is an expression of speech and it is not harming anyone.
I agree, but it was just good.
No, go.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Now my thing with that is you're going to turn a whole lot of libertarians against the Republican Party. I mean, the ones that are still in there. There was a decent amount of libertarians in the Republican Party. You do that. One, it's going to get shot down by the Supreme Court. It's been done.
Right.
Of course, that's the whole point, though. Is he was he was just saying it's disgusting. Like 1 year in prison is what he thinks it's worth.
I think.
I see.
I think.
Yeah.
I'm all for Hey, if you want to burn a flag, go for it. But I will say this: if you're a government employee and you burn a flag, you get fired and there's no rehiring. If you're in the military and you burn a flag, you're out. Same thing. You're out.
I'm curious,
you're not getting back. You're not getting back in.
When you bring that up, have there been cases of military, like people currently enlisted in the military, burning the flag, and have there been consequences against them?
There have been, actually. There was one. Well, I know there's one. There was the army wife that wiped her ass with the American flag and posted it on social media.
My question is, how can you be an army wife if she's not employed by the U.S. military?
Well, I think because they were living on unpost housing. I think they threw her off the base. Like they were like, nope, you gotta live off base now.
That's appropriate. I agree with that. Like if you're in the military, if you're in the government and you do that, yeah, you should absolutely be punished. It's like, how in the US you can say like whatever you want to say. You can say like stupid shit, you can say racist shit, you can say hateful shit, but you can still get fired from your job.
Yeah.
But saying something and burning something, it's almost like an act of violence against the
No.
country.
Right.
I mean, the
No.
most or is like if they set the fire in an improper location, I think they can charge them with that. But if it's not that,
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Supreme Court has ruled that, I mean, because they've had these cases brought to them, that flag burning is protected as long as you are doing it sort of, I don't want to say, well, I guess controlled is the right word. You're not like doing it like an open field that's super dry during wildfire season and you're burning a flag there. That's a big no-no because you're going to start fucking wildfiring and kill people. And yeah, it's a whole big problem all in of itself. But if you're doing like in the street, you burn it. Doesn't matter. It's fine. Nobody's harmed. It's kind of like, and when you bring up like violence on and like active war and all these other things some people say, it's kind of like what's interesting is to see how they've ruled on things like you'll see people make speeches and they're going to say like, well, we're going to bomb the shit out of ISIS. We're going to kill ISIS. Some people say, well, wait a second. Isn't that a act of violence? And it's technically not because you're advocating for a policy. You're not necessarily saying, hey, you, sir, right there, go kill that person. But if you say, like, I shouldn't even say it on this because somebody could technically say it's violence. But if I said, hey, I'm going to kill X, or hey, you go kill X, that's not protected. But if you advocate for like a certain like policy stance, it's like a blanket thing that's not aimed at a particular person, that is protected.
Well, that's kind of interesting because that you bring that up because, I mean, again, not to bring up Owen Benjamin, but that was actually where the trouble started with Owen for me, believe it or not, because he basically like falsely accused a friend of mine of trying to like poison his kids through some ridiculous, which was ridiculous to begin with. But then he also said, if anyone comes after my family, kill all of them or something. So he basically made a threat on the live stream, and YouTube didn't do anything about it, and like the people who, he threatened, like they weren't able to bring a lawsuit or anything. So yeah, that's kind of interesting that we're talking about that because
Well, I think if you say, son's going after my family, you can be inferred that then he means violently, and that would be, self-defense at that point, or defending people who are defenseless, which I feel is different. Like if you say, hey, if you come and like smack me with a stick, I'll smack you back with a stick. That's not really a call to action. That's just saying, hey.
It's like gay foreplay.
What it amounts
I'll
to in
slap
this
you
case,
with a stick, you bitch.
what it amounts to
looking for is call to action.
Is
in this case though, is not only did he falsely accuse these people with no evidence, but he spelled their names out on a live stream that I was actually watching,
and doxed them,
and inferred that he wanted people to do something about it. But don't do anything about it. But somebody should definitely do something about it. These people are dangerous, and violent rhetoric without crossing that line. I mean, I think he actually did, but it could be argued, I think, legally that he didn't, because he never said go kill those people, as Dexter, I think, was just saying. There's the legalese is, that's another thing. There's a lot of things wrong in this country, but it is mostly good, I think.
Yeah, you see, you have to go, Donnie. So thank you for coming on.
Yep, thanks again, as always.
Well, thanks for having me. Appreciate you guys. Puppy duty.
Have a good night, Donnie.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
See you, Donnie.
Nathan says Owen's out there past Pluto. Yeah, I think he's further than that.
Yeah.
he might have an actual mental illness. Like honestly,
No, he definitely does. And to be quite honest with you, like I can hardly stomach it. I used to so enjoy making fun of him, but it just got to
You feel like
I
you're
think
beating up a mentally ill patient at some point.
No, right? What the hell's wrong with you?
to be honest with you,
Cracking
though,
on
it was
mentally ill people? What the hell?
Yeah, piece of
my
shit here.
my little brother died, and it like everything lost its everything became, including that. 'Cause
For
it took I made really shitty videos, just with a fucking screen recorder on my phone.
Apex,
And
your shitty videos are artwork masterpieces. So
they're part of the lore, that's for sure. I mean, I'll never escape that.
I mean,
Luckily my channel's not tied to my real name yet.
I mean,
But,
I think Sean, is it you and I have talked about the movie Blade Runner, or was that another?
Yes, we have.
Well,
very extensively.
okay. Well, people have said that Blade Runner was a shitty movie when it first came out, and yet Blade Runner is a masterpiece. So
yeah, maybe he's got the next Blade Runner.
So what I'm trying to say is Apex is the Ridley Scott of YouTube troll clips. So.
Well, the funny thing too is like Owen Benjamin is actually, he's one of those people that's very fringe now. But talk about a guy where, yeah, he does have a mental illness, but I think the more interesting study on him, not only should you study his mental illness, but study how the censorship broke this man.
Oh,
because
yeah.
He didn't go really downhill till the censorship hit. And I've noticed it with other people. People that I love have gone more extreme because of the censorship.
Yeah.
Well, there's no doubt that that's true. But that's, I mean, the overall point you're making is true. But with Owen in particular, the spiral started with the incident that Sam was talking about, and to a greater extent, the Owen's quote unquote best friend, who was stealing valor, and Owen refused to accept that when people tried to show him evidence, and he started banning people, and that started his spiral, which started the censorship. So, I mean, the censorship definitely played a part. But he has been drifting from fringe topic to fringe topic for well over a year now.
Oh yeah, I mean the seeds were there.
The drinking too made it worse. The drinking just spiraled it faster. I watched him normal, and then one day he was like nuts drinking.
Well, that's the thing. My liberal friend that is subscribed to my YouTube channel likes to use Owen against me. He equates Owen to Donald Trump and like the conservative ideals. He thinks I'm in some kind of cult mindset, and I'm not even. Listen, I have so many pages of fucking text messages between him and I that are baffling to me. This is my oldest friend in the world, 22 years at least now. But shit, what was the point?
Most people don't even know who freaking Owen is.
He uses Owen against you.
Oh yeah, he uses Owen against me because he thinks that again that I'm in some kind of cult, because all he's seen of Owen is what I've posted in clips, which is me making fun of him after he lost his shit. But when I found Owen, that dude wouldn't even say Jews like on stream. He would be like he would play parody songs all day, just play piano, make shit up, look at the chat, talk to people, look at memes, and he would be playing a song about a conspiracy or something, and the line he was saying would so clearly rhyme with Jews, and he would stop, and like his brain would work for a second. He would say Saudi Arabia or something, like something other than, you know what I mean? I was like,
that's schizophrenia.
He's a totally different person.
Paranoid schizophrenia.
Kind of, yeah. It kind of looks that way. But he was the point is, he was very normal. He seemed like I remembered seeing his stand-up many years prior on Comedy Central, at least one of them. And he looked kind of familiar as an actor. I wasn't sure from where.
House Bunny.
Yeah, right. But seeing him on YouTube, he seemed like a red-pilled fucking Hollywood dude. He's like, yeah, dude, I fucking cut trees down and with my brother, and I'm all about family, etc., etc. And he played piano for a couple hours. He wore his glasses and drank coffee.
You
Eventually opened packages from his fans,
you know what
where
was
he opened a package of gummy dicks, and then it all started.
you know what was weird was like back in the day when he was normal and I first joined, the thing with John Eric Hayden and all those guys. I remember like after Owen got kicked off of Twitter, like I was saying, "Hey Owen, you should talk to Milo Yiannopoulos because he's been censored by Twitter too, and I feel like you guys are both funny and you guys both have like a good sense of humor, and I think you guys would really hit it off." And Owen's response to me in the one DM that like where he and I interacted was, Sam, I don't know. Milo is pretty controversial, and he's been associated with the alt right before, and I'm just not sure if I want to associate with that level of controversy. And that and so like he was originally afraid of being lumped in with Milo because Milo is quote unquote too controversial. Then he goes from that to screaming about Jews in just a matter of months. That's to me that's what was so mind blowing was it wasn't like a progressive, it wasn't like an overtime thing. To me it was like
pretty quick.
To me it was like
it was actually
it was overnight
ahead,
almost.
Sam.
It was overnight almost. So
He did a Britney Spears. It was a psychotic break.
yeah.
Well, and the timeline is very easy to follow. It's kind of convoluted and it's pretty long, but it's very easy to follow with channels like Milker Nation, especially on YouTube, who's done a pretty good job of, doing what I do, but way better production and resources. But, again, it started with the incident Sam talked about, and then listen, he was groomed into the internet by Steven Crowder. That's where all of what he is now comes from, because he worked for Steven Crowder. He wrote bits for Steven Crowder. He was on his show, etc. And he called him his best friend for a long time.
Yeah.
And then
I think that's how I found Owen.
Yeah. And then one day Owen, actually, you know what? I found Owen through Dick Masterson way back in the day. Anyway, oh fuck, my brain's not working. I lost
You
my
were
point
saying
again.
how he came in. He came in through
Crowder. That's right, Crowder.
I thought
And
it was
then
Alex Jones.
Oh
Yeah.
no. Steven Crowder was his the Christian part that he's still trying to play, because that the Christian thing, that's essential to his place on the internet and his making money. That's the one thing that he still holds from Steven Crowder, and he learned that from Steven Crowder. I mean, you can watch it happen through his timeline, but
you can't be a Christian and talk shit on Jews all day long.
Oh, sure you can. I don't know. I mean, I'm not. I don't care. But
well, one thing I'll pivot to
well,
after this.
Yeah, I would say I actually don't like talking about Owen anymore. But I mean, the overall point of him as a mental, health patient on the internet with influence is relevant. That's the whole reason I started making videos about him.
It's a good thing to bring up.
It's astounding, honestly. That's all I was gonna say. Well, and the other thing too, to your point about Owen being a Christian, too, is he recently went off on the Holy Trinity too, and I didn't.
Yeah, Alex wanted to.
Yeah.
What did you wanted to pivot to something? I heard that though, Sam.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that what this kind of all these sort of like right wing media figures and e-celebs remind me of. I recently discovered, well, I should say technically rediscovered, because I didn't realize I'd seen him before, was Lee Stranahan. This is somebody you brought up, Sam. I was going to ask you about this, but I never realized. I saw this guy because he was on InfoWars, a Band video talking about Steve Bannon and how Bannon was really actually pushing for John Bolton to be in the White House, and
Yeah.
how Bannon is actually anti-Trump secretly. I mean, there's some, and to give some background, Lee Stranahan used to work for Breitbart as one of their writers. I forget exactly his title, but I didn't realize I saw this guy at the National File event on day one of CPAC. I looked at him like, this guy looks familiar. Where did I see him before? And I figured out, I was like, oh shit, it was that guy. And I I've seen quite a few things about him now, because he talks some stuff about Bannon. He said some not so nice things about Cernovich and Jack Posobiec, and
Which
also not so nice things about Milo, which I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this guy. I'll be honest.
Well, I have to be honest, Sean. I'm not that much of a Cernovich fan anymore, for various reasons, which I don't want to get into quite yet. But there's a documentary coming out on Cernovich very soon, which I think, will be pretty interesting.
Who's making that documentary?
Well, one of my affiliates. So, here's what I will say about Cernovich. Cernovich, I do think he's done some good work, but he has danced around a lot of the allegations against him.
What allegations?
Sexual assault, supposedly that he settled, in court with a sexual assault allegation, and I mean he also, in regards to Lee Stranahan, and this is kind of where I take issue, he basically claimed a lot of Lee's work as his own to promote the Gorilla Mindset brand back in the day. So, all I'm trying to say at Cernovich is, like, I'm kind of 50-50 on him at this point. So,
yeah, this Lee guy, I just don't know how I feel about him, because he does have some level of credibility working at Breitbart. He would know the shit that goes down in there, but
to be fair, he doesn't.
I don't know.
To be fair, he doesn't like Ben either.
Yeah, it's true. He was right about the Ben Shapiro thing completely.
I don't like Ben. Ugh, that's a trigger. I don't like Ben.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing about Ben Shapiro. I used to like Ben. I actually, my claim to fame, at least prior to Owen, is I actually interviewed Ben Shapiro on my old show back when I was in high school in 2012. And I interviewed Ben specifically about Andrew Breitbart, and basically, like, I asked Ben what Andrew Breitbart was like, because Breitbart had died earlier that year, and I knew that he and Ben were, like, really close together, and I also knew that, that, like, Ben was kind of his, I guess, protege at the time. So I interviewed Ben about Andrew, and I will say this about Ben. I think back in the day, he was really good and really spot on. And I think he still has potential to redeem himself. But I think he really suffers from Trump derangement syndrome, and that's his ultimate problem, just like Glenn Beck.
I heard that from a very semi-reliable source that Ben Shapiro is still a virgin.
I don't think he is. You know what I think? He's not. He's got a couple kids. But
well, I also heard that he got he got his wife pregnant via a turkey baster. So that's
dude, oh come on, don't. Yeah, no. You know what I think got to everybody that we're talking about? I got to go in a second, but I had so much fun tonight. But I think what happened to every single one we're discussing is their their overt narcissism came out. With Cernovich, it was like over the top. And I couldn't even listen to these guys anymore because something started growing inside of them. Whereas before, when they were newbies, they were really fun to listen to and they were really smart. And it was stimulating conversation. And then once they made it and they became like to us, you know, a household name, they went off the deep end with their ego, and they're great
Very well put.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, very well put. The curse of the e-celeb, I guess.
Yeah,
we're all doomed.
Because Ben Shapiro's wife is a doctor, so I heard she tried to become a doctor so she could figure out how to have kids without actually fucking Ben.
I also Ben admitted to me that Andrew would always sneak into his office at Breitbart and like post Playboy centerfolds on Ben's cubicle.
I would do that. That's funny.
On Ben's,
but that's not very kosher.
And then just like stand behind Ben and like whisper something like boobies or something like that, because Andrew had the sense of humor of like a 13-year-old boy. So, which I mean that's what I would do if I were working with Ben Shapiro. I would just be going up to Ben every 5 minutes and just whispering boobs and just like probably triggering him or something like that. So,
well, speaking of right-wing e-celebs, I want to pivot to one more thing, which is that Lauren Southern is back.
And she's got dark hair.
She is back and rocking a brunette, her natural hair, probably.
I got so excited.
Oh man! And that
they're
video.
saying she's rocking black hair for Black Lives Matters.
Well, I've heard some rumors about her that could kind of corroborate that in a different way. I'll leave it at that. But her video, and there's a lot because, well, I'll give you some context. When we interviewed Milo on our channel, it was after he wrote that article about these two cameramen that were in right-wing circles. Now they were basically trying to sabotage it, take money, dox people, and ruin people's lives. They're total phonies. They took money from Tommy Robinson. They tried to dox. I think they did dox Gab McGinnis, and Lauren Southern knew what they were doing, and she kept them around. And I think she even did some other stuff. I don't know how deep it goes, but she comes out with this video of, oh, I'm back, guys. Oh, I was just taking time off with the kids because I was pregnant. I found a guy. She didn't really dive deep into like her husband much. Like, oh, I found him and he's like so magical. It's just like, oh yeah, I had kids, which I kind of think the first pregnancy was a bit unplanned. That's my guess. Not saying it's true. That's my guess. She has a second kid on the way now, and she's like, oh, I'm going to be looking at things objectively. I'm going to be going in, making documentaries, not with my opinion going into, but going in with an open mind and asking questions as if I don't know what's going on. And the whole video, something felt off about her, and it felt so freaking fake. It was like the fakest thing I've ever seen. I didn't buy a single word she said from the second it started. And man, Paul Joseph Watson's Twitter, if nobody's watching this, that timeline is savage.
I saw that because you were posting them in the Versamedia Discord, and I have to admit, like I said, I was kind of depressed because of the Black Lives, because of the whole country burning down. But I will say, Sean, that you made my day that day just by posting those, because like I was like, I haven't been this depressed in a while because of the whole country burning down. So let me just put that in context. But I was laughing my ass off reading that like tweet stream of Paul Joseph Watson. So
well, the thing is, the lore behind that is something Milo revealed on the kill stream, which is that Paul Joseph Watson slept with Lauren Southern, and I don't blame him for a second for doing that. But when he did do it, Lauren did what Lauren always does to guys in right wing circles: is she left them the next morning, high and dry. And but with Paul, she left him with something a little special, which was a little bracelet that had 1488 written on it. And for those who don't know,
Oh
it's a white
shit.
supremacist, number code thing. And she did as, I guess, some like super edgy joke, but Paul did not like that one bit. And he knows a bunch of other shit apparently about Lauren Southern. So
Well,
it's a fascinating fucking thing. I'll pull up the tweets because they're hilarious.
well,
But he was just unloading because she was deleting YouTube comments, calling her out on her past, and she would not reply to him about anything privately, and she leaked screenshots of their private
well,
conversation.
I think they just need to sleep again and sleep with each other again and just end the whole, the sexual repression, because there's
well,
definitely some tension there.
well,
There's tension.
well, Sean, wasn't it you who was like, who DM'd me and was like, I hate to break it to you, Sam, but your e-wife is already married, or I don't know if that was you or some.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean shit.
And
She's a thought.
and then I said something like, I'm like, oh, that's okay. Millie Weaver is the one I'm actually after. So, and actually, that's not even the case anymore because if people follow my Twitter, then you know what I'm up to. So.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Hey,
Sam's busy.
this is boy talk. I'm gonna go, you guys, because I'm not a lesbian.
Oh, okay.
No,
What were you
really.
gonna
Well-
say, Alex?
So it looks like we got her scared with all that locker room banter.
No.
Locker room talk.
And that toxic masculinity. So.
Oh, give me some of that.
Mm.
Okay, you guys, I'm gonna go now. But thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. Have a great night.
All right,
you
have a
too.
good one.
Okay.
So all of our women are gone. Now we can really have some fun.
Now we can get to the man talk, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Fucking man talk. Huh?
So Lauren Southern, yes, she slept with every right wing guy in every single freaking like part of the world and got material from them.
She's
They
like,
ghost wrote for her.
like the fucking birthday cake at a party. Everybody's getting a piece.
Hey, except us.
We weren't at the birthday party, so
Yeah, we weren't invited.
I'm trying to get more female guests on the Whitfield report. I really am trying, but
You should get Downey, man. I was actually going to tell you that
yeah.
earlier. You should bring Downey on.
I do want to get Donnie on. I'm going to. But I need to DM her because I was lazy and semi depressed this week, admittedly. So
Here's what Paul said on Twitter, by the way. I'll cheer you up. Replaying these greatest hits. This is the best e-drama ever happening right now. He said, "I'm not releasing the full Lord Southern info," and then parentheses he goes, "It's pretty bad because she broke the code and released private DMs, which is unforgivable. Also, she went mute after I asked her why she was deleting YouTube comments. Why are you deleting them at Lauren Southern?" And then he said, "Also, I'm totally releasing all the Lauren Southern info unless she films herself taking a knee and apologizing to me."
Yeah, totally.
Fucking A. Oh my god. Oh fuck. Literally everyone asks, "Are you okay?" every time I challenge anyone on Twitter. Yes, I'm doing fucking fantastic. Stop sending these cringe messages. I'm having fun. It's all bullshit. We're all gonna die. Stop freaking out.
They're that couple that's like in high school that they're like into each other, but they're like,
But they hate each other.
like it's like, will you two just fucking get it over with? Jesus.
Oh god, it's just hilarious. And his original tweet, oh yeah, he challenged her to a debate too. Oh my god. Yeah, and then Lauren started like either deleting or hiding her like tweet replies. And he literally says, like, it can't believe he even said this. He goes, "This thought Lauren Southern challenged me, yet ended up deleting literally all of her tweets because she's a fraud. I respect people who stand by their positions, whether left or right. But evidently, she doesn't have the fortitude to do that. Very disappointing. Also, there's a code which you don't leak private messages without permission. That's what Lauren did, which is pathetic. I'll be making a full response video unless she publicly apologizes to me for her dreadful behavior. If not, it's on. It's drama, and I will escalate.
Oh shit, it's going down.
Yeah.
Oh god. Spicy.
Very spicy.
Yeah, you literally said debate me, bitch. You know I will win.
She probably. There's a good chance. What are the chances that she came back on? Because like she's not being satisfied anymore in her present situation, and now
No, I know what you mean.
or some sort of excitement or whatever.
That's the thing is, why is she really back?
Yeah.
Why? And will she give up her e-thought he passed?
Well, this is what I'm saying, because if she's doing it, like if she's an e-thought, then she's probably doing this for some action. But like she's apparently, if she vanished because she got married and was having a couple of kids, and now she's back all of a sudden, I don't know. Maybe there's no more exciting personal life, and then just trying to look for something. I don't know.
Well, like I told you guys before. I mean, I blew it because a friend of mine took me up with Laura Loomer. So if I had played my cards right, I could have been Mr. Laura Loomer or something like that.
Mr. Sam Loomer.
I would have made her change mine it.
Wow.
I would
what
make
a trad.
I actually told my mom that, and she's like, "Really?" She's like, and my mom's like, "Why didn't you?" I'm like, I'm like, I didn't know how you would feel about about my kids being half Jewish, and my mom's like, I don't care. I just want you.
That's not very progressive of you, Sam.
I just want you to have kids at this point, so.
The tweet that started this all from Paul is when he said right-wing YouTuber suddenly, quote, returns, claiming to be an nuanced centrist, having disappeared at the exact point where everyone else was fucked over and banned for the last 18 months, having thrown them under the bus by funding the very people responsible for that. That's in reference to the cameramen. Inauthentic. And then the replies, he just digs in. He's like, also, why deleting response on your YouTube, blah, 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 blah. And then that's when Lauren shows the screenshot that Paul, he was like when the messages he sent on WhatsApp, and it looks like he's asking about deleting comments on the video, and then he just goes, "Can't answer, fraud, disappointed, so disappointed, you can't answer, so pathetic, Jesus, just allow the comments, it's not hard, pathetic, how dare you, fuck off, leave me alone." Thought higher of you, but after tonight, no. Just have a family life, enjoy it, and protect your kid. Much respect for that, but otherwise, fuck off.
Yikes.
Can I ask? Didn't Paul actually like lose a kid, and like I thought he had a daughter, and then the daughter like died of crib death or something like sad like that.
What? Really?
Yeah, I could have sworn that like Paul was like I'm not saying this to be like edgy or anything like that, but like I could have legitimately sworn that Paul Joseph Watson was married like a few years ago, and then he had a daughter, and then like she died the same day she was born or something like really sad like that, and it like broke him and his wife apart at the time, understandably. So.
Yeah, I had not heard of that at all. I've always liked Paul. He's awesome.
I actually liked him better than I liked Alex for a while because like
Same.
Because like I always said, I for the longest time I thought Alex was like a crazy 9/11, conspiracy guy, so I never really liked him. But then Paul would always come and I would always watch him, and I was like, okay, this guy is good. It was only once I heard Alex on Joe Rogan that I gave him
Same.
another chance. So
yeah, and actually, it's funny. I'm on Lauren Southern's Twitter page, and you want to know? It comes up on the right with you might also like, and it lists some accounts. And usually, like with let's say Trump, it'll list like some of his kids or his associates. For Lauren Southern, it shows only one person, Richard Spencer.
oh shit.
It would have been funny if they had Paul Joseph Watson on there. But yeah, they have Richard Spencer there.
That's weird, right? That like Gavin McInnes and like all these other people are banned, but Richard Spencer is somehow like still on.
It's almost like he's not influential. It's almost like they need him. The left, that is.
It's almost like he and Nick Fuentes are on the payroll of the radical left.
So you think they're both feds?
I mean, in Minecraft, allegedly, I'll just say, I'll just say allegedly for right now. But
Myra claims that Spencer's a fed.
I've been proven right before. I mean, let me ask you that. Let me ask you this. Why is Richard Spencer famous? Okay, that's the first question. And then, where did Nick Fuentes come from? Why is he famous? Why is like a 22-year-old kid who no one's ever heard of suddenly become like a quote unquote overnight, success? And meanwhile,
Nick's a bit different because he actually, I'd known about him before the Groyper Wars, and he had a growing channel that was doing quite well. But what really kicked things off was when Charlie Kirk his security team wouldn't let him take a picture of him and wouldn't let him into that event. And that started trending big time because it was like, oh, why is this conservative guy keeping people out of events? And then Nick starts encouraging Groypers to do certain things at his events. So his claim to fame was pretty organic, and it's not like it came out of nowhere. But I do know what you mean, though.
And to be fair, I know you got well actually, this is a bad topic to bring up on air, but I'll just say I don't like Charlie Kirk personally because of some stuff that he did to my friends, which I've shared with you guys about privately. But I don't like Charlie Kirk, but I do like some of the people that work for Turning Point, most notably you guys, even though I guess now
not anymore.
Well, we were different though. Like I mean, yeah, we were kind of Turning Point, but we really weren't. Like we had our own personality.
Dictator.
It wasn't like we were just right along the line because we had that one speaking event that I think we went completely against the grain as far as TP went. Like they did not want. I don't think they wanted that speaking event at all, and just
no, they didn't want to bring Sargon.
We're doing it anyway.
So okay. I hate to blast the fucking doors off the hinges then, but can I ask you, what's your opinion of TPUSA now as graduates? Let me just ask that.
I think that the local people are good, like the local groups are fine, but the problem is the national organization. It's kind of like the college Republicans, just Republicans in general.
Well, the college Republicans are different though, because I think the college Republicans are more. It's like I think I kind of agree with that. Like the Turning Point is kind of like it's a separate, like the local chapters are a separate identity from the national identity. Like you have like a lot of these groups that have their own thing going on, and then it's like kind of different from the national level. And then you have like, well, college Republicans, and I said this today in another chat somewhere else. Like the CRs, they're basically representative of the establishment, but Republicans, which are they're weak as fuck. Like they're just like weak pushover bitches. Like and like they just have they'll simp to anything, like anything at all. You know, they avoid conflict. There's no friction. There's no standing up for what I believe in. There's no. It's just like, well, we
It's
do what
everything wrong with the Republican Party in
they
one.
are absolutely the local republic, like Penn, the local college Republican, issues are the same fucking issues as the national, like in terms of the
Where these people
establishment.
come from.
And it's they're grooming. It's like the pedophile groomers. They're just grooming them up to be more fucking weirdos when they get older. Like, and that's exactly what we're doing, because you see it. We've seen it in the years that we were there. They're just the same. They're just the same shady, backstabbing pieces of shit that the establishment fucking Republicans are. It's just like this is part why we feel like Trump is probably the greatest Republican maybe in our lifetime, because he's not your traditional Republican. He's tough. He stands up. He pushes back, and this is something like he is the beacon of strength in a fucking place that sorely needs it. And that and it's like we know this, and yet it's like the same shit. It's just the same shit with the college Republicans. It's like, well, did you not see the 2016 election? Did you not see the 2018 election? There's a difference between strength and sheer weakness, and you guys are fucking weak.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's really what's weird and sad to me both is that, like, okay, so Andrew Breitbart talks a lot about, in that CPAC speech, he talks about unity, right? And I feel like in 2016 there was really that push of, like, okay, yeah, there are different groups like Turning Point and the College Republicans and like Yale, and well, Yale wasn't really a thing in 2016, but
They still aren't.
Yeah, and the sad thing is that, like, technically I'm still affiliated with them, and yet I just bash them all the time. I don't.
That's straight up right there. You can bash
I
them all you want, but they'll still invite you to their fucking conferences because they're so desperate.
I got another text message from my I guess, like, state head today. And
yeah, my girlfriend did too.
And he's like Operation Win at the Door is hiring for July. I'm like, nah, I'm not traveling right now. So, but no, back to my original point though. Like, back then, like, the college Republicans and Turning Point, and I guess, like, early Yale, like, we were all kind of united, like, okay, we have to get behind Trump, and we have to get behind the conservative movement just to beat Hillary. And now there's not really that unity push anymore in 2020.
That's what happens when you get what you want. Like, groups that only had a common goal.
But it wasn't like that at Penn State, though, was it? It was like...
Well, but Penn State was an exception because it was one of the few... I mean, look, CRs are kind of establishment-y in many places, but Penn State was one of the few, very few, that did not endorse Trump. And there was... Look, and Alex can attest to this, there was a lot of unity in 2016. Other than the CRs and some other establishment groups.
It was the Trump Club and all that other shit.
Well, Well, but here's the thing: the Trump Club, after again, this is what happens with a common cause is like all these different fractions come together and get it, and then they split off. After after Trump got in, you had people splitting back into their libertarian shit. That's where we got somebody starting Yell Up. You had people splitting off into Turning Point and starting that, which was kind of libertarian, I guess, at the time, kind of, barely. I don't even know if I call it that, but whatever. And then you had people even going full on alt right. Then you had people like me that stayed pro Trump and maybe evolved on some positions. But there definitely was a split, a fracture, and it has remained that way. And there is some level of unity, but right now it is not as unified as 2016 by any fucking stretch of the imagination for a whole bunch of reasons. But to answer your question, because I'm gonna have to shut down the stream soon, is my opinion Turning Point is still the same. The boots on the ground at the local levels, the students are fantastic. A lot of field reps are fantastic. The higher ups in the national part of Turning Point, like Phil said perfectly, is they have a different identity. They are disconnected with the local chapters, and what they think is cool is not what the students think is cool. And that doesn't mean they should be bringing Nick Fuentes around on speaking gigs. No, that's most people do not like Nick Fuentes, but he has a strong cult following for sure. But they should be bringing people around like Gavin McGinnis, Alex Jones, Milo, Crowder, even though Crowder goes through YAF, which is a whole nother story. But they should be getting people like that, not Rob Smith, not Alex Clark. People don't know who these people are, okay? And nobody cares. And you're gonna manufacture people that don't really have their heart and soul in it like others do, and that's part of the problem. And that's why I was starting my little club before Corona screwed everything up. But yeah, college Republicans are shit at Penn State, and they're shit in a lot of places. I mean, I was even talking to my boss today at work, and he was telling me like, yeah, the CRs in my school were basically just like they drank every weekend. I was like, ours used to do that. Now they don't even do that.
Well, that's interesting. Speaking of Gavin, one thing I want to ask you guys about, kind of, I guess, for our final segment, is something that concerns me greatly. So, folks, we at Verse Media / the Whitfield Report and several other podcasts, we use Discord to do voice calls and other things like, share photos, share show notes, everything like that, and several other and just to chat in general. And recently, yesterday actually, Discord set out a disclaimer basically saying that they were going to start shutting down controversial Discords. What do you guys think about all that? And do you guys have any reactions?
Well, it's on par with any sort of tech company. Like, look at what Discord was saying for years. Like, I think Mr. Medicare did a video on that about why he wasn't going to Discord, because like the people who run it are a bunch of furries. Like there's been like videos and evidence. Like you can look up YouTube for like Discord furry, where they have brought up like the fact that there's furries grooming children on these servers and like doing a lot of disgusting acts, and the Discord staff just ignore it for the most part, and they even go so as much as to go and tell them that like, hey, this is being like anti-gay or whatever, anti-LGBT. Like there's a lot of interesting stuff about that.
That must be why Milo put his persona as his avatar on Discord. That makes sense now. I love Discord. It's the best platform for communication. But yeah, like Alex said, like what they said in that statement just didn't surprise me. It's stuff they said before.
It
I'm
it
not concerned per se, but I could see them banning more moderate stuff. I mean, they really haven't done that. They've only kind of banned. I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but they actually pretty much have only banned the legit Wignats. But who knows? I mean, they had that big purge after Charlottesville. Again, it was with a lot of white supremacists, but it can get, when you get rid of those people, the new extreme are just people that like freedom and capitalism and Trump.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. For me, it's like a case of there are discords I'm in, like your guys' Discord and Gavin McGinnis's Discord, where like I just go in there to meet people, and like we don't even talk politics. Like yeah, we all share the same political views, but like more often than not, we're just talking like life stories, or like what type of, music, or, movies and stuff that we all like, and what, just like everyday stuff. Because we've all kind of been like marginalized now because we're all conservatives. So now our social lives kind of, at least, where we can be open about it, is now online. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it would be tragic if they start going after like some moderate stuff. Like that'll kill their platform for a lot of people. But they've grown rapidly. I remember Alex and I were one of the early adopters of it, and it is a great platform. Like that's the problem with this is what conservatives need to understand is like the problem with these big tech companies and their tyrannical powers is that let's say you get banned from like Google Docs or something. What's the fucking alternative? There is nothing on the internet that comes close to Google Docs. There are alternatives, but they suck. And I mean, maybe the other thing is like Microsoft Word, but that's freaking it. It's like with these like personal payment things, like Venmo. Okay, you get banned for, like Laura Loomer. She's banned from Venmo, Cash App, all these things. There's not enough competition, and the other competition is out there freaking sucks beyond the mainstream. And that's the problem. Is like we're beholden to using platforms that are the best platforms, but they hate us. So
That's a sad thing, isn't it?
Yep.
mhm. I was gonna say something else. I'm already forgetting it, but um, oh yeah, it was something I want to talk to you off air about. But which we'll get
Sure.
into. Any other final thoughts before we close out for tonight?
No, I can't think of anything.
We will see you guys next week.
Take it easy.
All right.
Yeah, it's a great stream as always, and always nice to simulcast with you, Sam.
Yeah, we have 14 people in here, and we had 20 at one point. So we had 20 people on the first hour, and 20 people on the second hour, and also for those of you for those of you who are wondering when I'm gonna put out the audio podcast, I've started recording the audio directly to my computer for these, so I'll just be able to manually put them up because, yeah, YouTube is still holding up my streams in, processing purgatory. So
Yeah.
I've just taken the initiative to record the streams manually if I can. So,
Mm-hmm.
yep.
Yep. That's the sad reality of it. But we'll see you guys next time for another Real News Anarchy, and we'll be keep watching the chop and keep you guys up to date on everything. So as always, have a lovely day in whatever this country is becoming, and wash your fucking hands still.
Yep, God, freedom, legacy in that order, as my friend John Nero used to say, and God bless America. I'm never gonna stop saying it until, even when Antifa does try and kill me, I'll never stop saying that. God bless America, and fuck Antifa. So.
Amen.
Goodbye.
And